the Mississippi Crop Situation Podcast featuring the Crop Doctors.
Good morning from the Crop Doctors Podcast studio in Stoneville. Tom and I are here. Drew's here. And Mr. Dillon Russell is here with us too. Dillon works for Drew, and we'll let Dillon tell y'all a little bit about himself in a second. Today is November the 3rd.
Strangely.
My dad's birthday is tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, Claire's birthday. Okay.
Yeah, we're at birthday season, and our family has officially started. We got several in November. But it also, do you realize we've only had one decent rain since the last time Drew was in here?
And that's what scares me.
That was in September.
I told the people in my program that we needed to get the last few things out of the field as fast as possible because we were podcasting with Drew this morning, and I know what that means. The listeners know what that means. Drew knows what that means.
It's not going to be raining when we walk out of here this morning like it was in August when we
Hush your mouth.
Well, the sun's coming through the shades, Tom. It's not going to be raining this
Doesn't
morning.
mean anything.
If you could conjure one up, Drew,
it'd
be pretty well timed at this point.
You'll get some local weather folks that'll quit if you can conjure one up.
I'd quit. I could do a lot of other things if I conjure one up today.
His track record is
That's exactly right. If I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be here.
His track record's a little eerie, though. Oof.
We're going to hurt his percentage.
Yeah, I think you're going to be on a dry run on this one, Drew. All right, Dillon has been sitting here worried about what I'm going to ask him because he knows I'm going to ask him something. Drew's been on the chopping block a bunch of times, so today's your day, buddy. And I don't even know what I'm going to ask you right now. I'm still trying to think, so that's why I'm talking while I'm thinking. So Halloween was this week, Dillon, and Thanksgiving's coming up. So are you more of a Halloween man or a Thanksgiving man?
Oh, so my birthday is October 25th, so right there by Halloween. I'd say I'm more of a Thanksgiving man, though.
Solid choice.
I actually make the dressing for my family every year.
Okay.
So, yeah, I learned that from my great-grandmother back when I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. So since I was about 15, I was the one that started making it by myself and make it for my whole family every year.
Tom, do y'all eat dressing? Like cornbread dressing?
Depends on who we have Thanksgiving with.
Okay.
My mother-in-law makes cornbread dressing. My mother makes stuffing.
Which is altogether different?
It's 100% different. And that actually gets stuffed in the bird in most cases. It does not go in a pan in the oven, although you can do it both ways.
Drew, how does North Texas do it?
Dressing.
Dressing, cornbread dressing?
Cornbread dressing.
Good man.
My favorite.
It's a big deal, though, Tom. Like
it is a very big deal.
Dillon say he makes it for his whole family. That's a big time
make or break
pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When my grandmother passed away, my mom, when it came to the next event where dressing was called for, she stressed over that. She's got a great recipe. It's different than what my grandmother made, but everybody was very satisfied with it, so she's hung with it now for quite a while. So she does a good job on it. But yeah, I commend you, dude. That's a scary undertaking.
Oh, yeah, that's a big task there.
Why don't you give us a rundown, Dillon? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do for Drew.
I'm from the Delta, so I grew up in Greenville. I started actually working at DREC as a summer worker under Dr. Jason Kreutz after high school. Decided to pursue a bachelor's degree in agronomy, so I moved to Mississippi State, finished my degree in 2019, moved back home, and started on my master's under Dr. Gurpreet Kaur. Completed that in spring of 22, and ever since then, once I completed that, I started working with Drew, and we've been developing the Mississippi Master Irrigator program as well as working on some other things, developing a Mississippi irrigation manual, and I've also been helping him a lot with a lot of his on-farm programs he has.
Drew, Master Irrigator, that's a new thing in y'all's program. I know there's Master other things in extension, like Master Gardener. Some states have Master Farmer programs. I don't know if we have a Master Farmer program.
I don't think we do.
LSU had a Master Farmer program. Does it go in that category with those other programs?
Yeah, I think it'd fall in that category. It's very similar. I mean, there's some little tweaks from each one. So the Master Irrigator, though, does exist from a national standpoint. So in Texas, when I was there, worked closely with a groundwater conservation district that had originally developed a program where they saw the need of, we have a lot of these conservation practices, water conservation practices, and understanding the basics of it, the formal teaching need of it. So they developed this course, and they worked with NRCS, so being able to incentivize some of the practices and the participants that come in there, and it kind of grew from there. Oklahoma State started one, Colorado State started one. Since that, we've been getting as a group so I think, what is it, Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, working with Arkansas, us,
Minnesota
Kansas,
has one.
Minnesota's starting one, Georgia wants to start one. So we've been, as a group, as a national group, developing a lot of these curriculums and programs and for the needs of it. Officially, we just started ours. When did we launch it?
Beginning of October.
For enrollment. We've been working on this I may have mentioned it in my interview. So it's been a little while trying to get something going. But really, like we've been working on it for a year at least, right? Trying to develop the new stuff. Like he mentioned the manual and the curriculum. And so we have online video, so it's a lot of going into it. But overall, it's a course where, and they set up guidelines when this multi-state group of, it has to be X number of hours. It has to have several other things that go along with it that would make it a master irrigator type course. What we're trying to do is really get at some of the education behind some of these tools, instead of just saying use soil moisture sensors. How do you use it? Where do you put it in the field? How do you take the numbers? And just really crunching down. We go even further back into soil water holding capacity, a lot of other basic background curriculum that we're developing with that to give an overview of how this stuff works and how do they be more efficient with these practices that they can use.
You said you're just now in the sign-up phase.
And I'll let Dillon go through the walkthrough of how it looks, but they can sign up and start now. And one thing, we're the only, I think there's only 4 live states that's going right now, but of those, we're the only one. We've developed ours as a hybrid system, so it's not all in person. They all have 4 days of sitting in their classroom, and we created ours where it's hybrid, both online and in person.
So when you say start,
it's going.
I mean, it's November, but what am I starting? Obviously, I'm not doing anything in the field.
Yeah, so you're talking about start, like your enrollment. Yeah, yes. So you can get online, enroll right now. We have several series of curriculum and modules, online modules that someone would need to complete. You just need to have that completed by, February 21st?
January 31st to complete the
online
modules.
So end of January. So you could start that now and just wait. So we've got a window between October to the end of January to complete the online modules to be able to be ready for the in-person training. So they could start it today, they could start it in 2 weeks, they could start it in a month. But we have these spaced out online curriculum.
So we take the online curriculum now in preparation for in-person training or in-person program sometime in the spring of 24.
Yes. Yeah, it would be February 21st and 22nd that will be coming in.
Well, Dillon, give us the details of the training that's available right now.
Okay. So we started the online portion of the program. That is meant to cover background information. So we go into some soil water stuff there. We go a little bit into some crop water use with different row crops, but mainly just some background information that we would like for the participants to know beforehand before we get to the in-person. The way that looks is we put all of the information on Canvas. Once you sign up, you automatically get a Canvas login. You get on Canvas, and we have all of these different modules broken down based on the topic that it's under. Each of the modules begin with a pre-quiz. So we've designed a pre-quiz. You'll go through, watch the video, and then you'll take the post-quiz. Also, on the online portion, we developed a pre-programmed survey that we would like for everybody to go through just to give us some background information about them and something that we can use to tailor towards our in-person events. But that's how that looks. And like I said, we have set it up to where you must go through all of these modules by January 31st. And then our in-person meeting is going to be on February 21st and 22nd. We allowed us a little time there to plan for the in-person meeting and the amount of people that we're going to have for that. And right now we're still working on the agenda for the in-person meeting. We pretty much have a preliminary agenda set, but we still have some things to finalize there.
So you mentioned Canvas, and just for folks listening that have never done that before, that's just like an online classroom type deal that Mississippi State subscribes to. I don't think it's just
it's worked well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have enrollment right now, and we've tried to make it as simple as possible. And Dillon has reached out individually to every registrant about making sure that if they have any questions, they're coming on, they contact you. I don't think haven't
had any issues really. The only issues we've had is with participants that currently work for Mississippi State that already have a state login. That there's kind of been some conflict there, but it's something that we've been working out pretty easily. So far, we have 32 participants signed up, and we chose Canvas because, I've used Canvas when I was doing my undergrad as well as my master's. I used Canvas, and it seemed like a really pretty straightforward platform.
It's very user friendly, and it's pretty simple, and does a good job of kind of maintaining the structure that you need for any of that, and then recording the fact that they've actually taken the video, as I understand it, and that's just my basic limited understanding.
I like that system. I can monitor all of their progress through there, so I can see all of the activity, what module they are working on, what they've completed. That way, then too, I can go through there, send an email announcement out there reminding everyone to finish all of the modules.
So 2 questions: how many modules are there, and then what are some of the topics covered in the different ones?
Okay, so we have about 9 to 10 different modules right now. We have a soybean water use module that Dr. Trent Irby did for us, corn water use with Dr. Larson. Dr. Dave Spencer did a module on pivot irrigation strategies. Dr. Mary Love Taggart did some on-farm water storage, have that on there. And then we also have some private entities and some resources on there available. So we reached out to YMD. So YMD did a couple videos for us on going through their online application, well permit application. And then they also did a video for us on their interactive map. So how you can go online, view their interactive map, see all the wells and everything on there. And then I got Paul Rodrigue from NRCS to go through some NRCS programs and how some irrigation water management practices tie into their programs they have. So not only is it educational instruction, but we have those private entities and some resources out there for the growers to look at.
How long are those videos? What's your general duration?
About anywhere between 20 to 45 minutes per video. And then not only that, too, we also made a couple how-to videos. So these are just some short 5-minute videos where we show growers how to install soil moisture sensors, setting up surge irrigation. I think we did a flow rate, how to properly get your flow. So we have about 5 or 6 of those short how-to videos as well.
I'll add, going back to your original of the overview and overall question, but we had, so NRCS is a big part of this in their EQIP and their funded conservation programs. And just in generalizing, but 2 of the biggest barriers to doing some of these irrigation water management practices is financial and understanding or knowledge or education part of it. And so the overall thought process when we were setting this up is if we could tie those 2 things together, so that if we had EQIP dollars that were helping farmers or incentivizing farmers to try certain practices, if we could couple that trial or incentive into trying a certain conservation practice with the education on how to do it correctly, they're going to be more successful in using that certain practice past that program, trying to be able to take those 2, incentive program and education, and then tying those together. And so currently we're working with NRCS that it is written into the IWM and EQIP program that if they complete this course, then this counts as a management of their IWM. And so if I go too far into equip, I'm going to start lying because I get so confused in a lot of the NRCS programs. But as opposed to, say that you're doing an advanced program and you said you're going to use this tool or this tool, say it's soil moisture sensors, and you have to prove and send in the readings of the sensor, they would not have to do any of that. They can just turn in their approval or they're shown that they completed this course and would not have to do anything management. And their thought process on that is if they took the time to understand how to do these practices and how to go through this education program on their own, then they trust that they're going to be able to manage and actually do those certain practices instead of verify that they're doing those practices. Because one comment that was made to me is a lot of the times what they get in when they have to prove or show that they're doing soil moisture sensors, they turn in their battery usage because it's a graph as well. And so that's a prime example of making sure that we understand that we're using these practices correctly so they actually get the advantages that we're seeing on station and through our research of using them. So tying those two things together.
So that was my next question, Drew, before you describe that. The incentive beyond the increased efficiency of your irrigation and the education is more levels of participation in the NRCS conservation programs.
Yes, yeah, that's a big incentive, and there is payments for NRCS through a management. So this counts as that management, so they can get paid for that if that makes sense. My ultimate hope is that if they complete this course, then we can work with NRCS to have some kind of priority for these, because I think if you have a set of growers that have gone through this course and then being able to have them set up really successfully for this incentive for EQIP or whatever program we're talking about, and that's where we really tie that money together. And then another incentive that we are working on as well, and several other companies are decided to participate with this program, is there's several irrigation companies, sensor companies that are supportive of this program, and so they'll be able to. Some of them have told us they'll give subscriptions out and hand out soil moisture sensors or telemetry boxes, have giveaways for all those that have come through our course.
Dillon, in the spring, what will the field part of the program look like?
We've kind of broken it up to where we're going to have some, inside instruction with some of our guest speakers. We've also have put together some in-field demonstrations. So we're going to have some different stops set up where we'll show you how to install some of these soil moisture sensors, pull up the platform online, show you how to interpret the graphs to be able to make decisions. We're going to have some outside demonstrations on surge irrigation. Anything else? I think sure.
We're going to have a pumping plant efficiency.
So we're going
to go out to a well and walk through on how to do some of the readings and turn on a well and take those equations to get at a pumping plant efficiency and see if there's different tweaks or the right RPM that's the most efficient to use, and so that we're saving. And there's a lot of advantages to reduce the amount of fuel consumption based on finding and understanding your pumping plant or your well efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Any plans to get some coordinated data sharing between those that are taking the course and what you need for general output?
Meaning, so like sharing the farmers,
seeing how they implement what they've gotten from the course, whether or not they're going to use soil. I mean, obviously they're going to use soil moisture sensors, and then you can track how that is applied to general benefit on their particular farm.
Yeah, exactly. We have evaluations set up to where we have intentions on the last day of what they plan to do, and then the Dillon's one of his tasks will be to keep in touch. And for two reasons, to like, what are you doing? Did it help? Are we being successful in using them, the tools that we talked about? Are they having success with those practices? But two, as a resource. So, I mean, I hope we develop a group. What we normally do through our extension programs that we're out there and ready to help any type of grower that wants to call. But the ones that go through theirs, if we're having Dillon can call them up and making sure that they don't need any help, or ask them if they need any help and having a resource or to each one of those growers that go through there. So there'll be a follow-up that will continue to stay in touch. And another thing that we kind of going on that as a resource, but also what's the in-person question, is trying to, we'll have some other growers that are doing certain conservation practices so that they're not just listening to us talk about it the whole time. That some of these other that have been successful with it and really seen the advantages of some of these tools, they can hear from them instead of just from us.
So where can I find my enrollment?
All right,
or
so-
where do I go to enroll?
Well, one, you can just get on Google, type in Mississippi Master Irrigator, and it'll pull up. We have it both on the extension website as well as our NCAR website, so ncar.msstate.edu, or get on extension, and you can find them both on there.
Blog link?
Yes, I did post it on the blog.
Yes, that'd be the Mississippi Crop Situation blog. Drew, I never hear NCAR, and I don't chuckle about you listing off all the different ways people have missaid NCAR. NCAA is what I keep hearing Drew say.
NASCAR.
NASCAR, yeah.
Well, that's close.
Yeah.
It's close. It's ballpark.
The more we put on there, the Google is starting to have us come up. But when even if you wanted to search NCAR, those were some of those come from.
You could get Dillon to just
You could pay for that too, right?
fix those metrics by just sitting there throughout the day and just typing that into Google, and it'll just increase the metrics. Sure.
Particularly in the summertime when Drew keeps making it rain.
Absolutely. It's important. Stick it on X, Twitter. Come on. That's got to push.
All right, what else?
Well, we probably need to talk about, y'all have any plans? I mean, is this mostly beginner oriented? And then you're going to do advanced classes on this, or no plans for that?
We've talked about that.
5-year
Right now.
refresher?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if there's new information that comes out,
Yeah.
we could add but
Only do that if you could ultimately get a black belt in irrigation.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that.
That's the first thing I thought about.
And another thing though that I think, as far as like reaching back out, or them say if they need a refresher or something like that, that's why we've been developing the irrigation manual too. So that manual is a really in-depth look at everything you're going to learn in this course and more. So I think it's about 120, 130 page manual that we've developed that each participant is going to get at the conclusion of the course.
yeah,
That's not a manual, that's a book.
That's the
No,
book.
well, and that was,
It is.
How to guide.
and we're not covering everything in the courses with it. But what our goal with that is if you irrigate in Mississippi, any type of resource and program or tool, it is in there. So it's there for them to hold during the course, but we're not going to go through it page by page. But it's something they can take back and go a little bit further into it. And we put everything that they would need to know and maybe more in there.
Man, that's awesome. When we talked about doing a podcast on Master Irrigator, I only had a loose idea of what y'all were even talking about, but I think that's really cool. We just don't have much like that in row crop agriculture. I mean, that I'm familiar with.
No, one of these states down here is like a soybean school. Does Arkansas have soybean school?
I don't know.
I think they do.
Why don't you do a master pest manager program?
Because I don't know
I
that I'm a
contribute
master
to it.
pest manager.
I'm not a master of anything.
I'm not either.
Well,
The environment bests me on a regular basis.
Drew, Dillon, thank y'all for spending part of your Friday morning with us.
We appreciate it. It's great to see y'all. And that's good information. I mean, that irrigation is super important. Learning how to do it's even more important with the tools that continue to be developed.
We appreciate y'all having us on, and I mean, anybody listening on, please, if you go on, try to register if you can find the resources online, but reach out to Dillon or I, and we'd be happy to help or answer any questions or walk you through it.
Thanks, guys.
The Mississippi Crop Situation Podcast is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.